Well, our top story today from thegatewaypundit.com, watch as Coney Barrett nukes Ketanji Brown Jackson with a devastating line in the Supreme Court ruling on nationwide injunctions. We're talking about this story and so much more here on the Gateway Pundit's Week in Review. My name is Elijah Schaffer, and this is the Gateway Pundit's Week in Review, where we cover the top stories of the last 24 hours. Our mini-sode today begins with a focus on the Supreme Court as Coney Barrett nuked Ketanji Brown Jackson. This is insane. Check it out. Justice Coney Barrett confirmed how little she thinks of her far less intelligent colleague, Ketanji Brown Jackson, during today's historic ruling on nationwide injunctions with a phrase that will haunt Biden appointee for years. As the Gateway Pundit's Jim Hoff reported, the United States Supreme Court delivered a powerful rebuke of activist judges and handed President Trump a pivotal legal victory on Friday. The decision in Trump's versus Casa Inc. reaffirms the rightful balance of power between the judiciary and the executive, curbing the ability of unelected district judges to paralyze the will of a duly elected president. In a 6-3 decision, the court ruled that federal district courts lack the constitutional or statutory authority to issue so-called universal injunctions, sweeping orders that block government policies nationwide, often at the request of left-wing advocacy groups. The case stemmed from challenges to President Donald Trump's executive order 14160, titled Protecting the Meaning and Value of American Citizenship. Justice Coney Barrett, writing for the majority, dismantled the legal foundation of those injunctions with surgical precision, joined by Chief Justice Roberts and Justices Thomas Alito, Gorsuch, and Kavanaugh. Barrett declared that such universal remedies lack any historical basis in the equitable traditions of the Judiciary Act of 1789. Justices Alina Kogan, Sonia Sotomayor, and Jackson dissented. Wow, the libtard female judges dissented? Color me shocked. But it was stunning enough that Barrett authored the ruling, but what Barrett said about Jackson is even more shocking. In her ruling, Barrett went off on Jackson for her ridiculous argument against nationwide injunctions. We will not dwell on Justice Jackson's argument, which is at odds with more than 2 centuries worth of precedent, not to mention the Constitution itself. We observe only this: Justice Jackson decries an imperial executive while embracing an imperial judiciary, she added. Now, okay, listen. Obviously here, we are not a racist network. We are not pushing, racial stereotypes. But with DEI, when you get a DEI hire like Ketanji Brown Jackson, who didn't even know how to define what a woman was, you kind of go, oh, this makes sense, right? I mean, like, a culture is its people. And when you bring in somebody because they're black, you're going to get really crappy rulings. And like, to think about this person wields this much power in the country but won't follow the Constitution, it's a bit scary, you know what I mean? Because look what happened to Zimbabwe and Rhodesia. Like, when Rhodesia collapsed, look what's happening to South Africa. Remember, keep your guns, folks. Keep those guns. Don't let them fall. That being said, in a kind of a greater news, I wanted to let you guys know that I need to tell you about something that's got me really concerned as both an American and an investor. Now, you've been watching what's been happening in the Middle East. Israel's fighting for its survival while Iran threatens to cut off oil supplies. Just last week, oil prices jumped 8.5%, the biggest surge since the Ukraine invasion. But here's what the mainstream media isn't telling you. We're looking at a potential $100 of oil if this conflict spreads. That's a 35% jump from where we are today. Now, most financial advisors will tell you to buy oil company stocks, but there's a problem with that. These companies are loaded with debt, operational risks, and they're at the mercy of environmental regulations that could shut them down tomorrow. But there's a smarter way, a way that lets you profit from America's energy production without owning a single oil stock. It's an investment vehicle that's been paying monthly income to smart investors for over 20 years, even through the Obama years, even through COVID. Legendary investor Charlie Munger used this exact strategy to turn $1,000 into nearly $100,000 in annual income over 6 decades. And you can get started for as little as $15. Look, I can't give you all the details here, but my friend Mark Lynchfield, who's been tracking this for years, has put together a complete briefing on how this works. If you're concerned about energy independence, inflation, or just want to stop depending on stock markets up and downs, you need to see this. Go to ElijahOil.com right now, ElijahOil.com. That's ElijahOil.com. With Iran promising retaliation and our energy security on the line, don't wait. The next few weeks could determine whether you profit from the crisis or get left behind. Again, it's ElijahOil.com. Now back to the show. And that being said, it may blow this whole thing open. GOP Senator Schmitt announces first of its kind action on the Biden Autopen scandal. Check this out. Oversight Project said that you were White House staff secretary when Biden Autopen pardons from the golf course in USVI. Is this you? Look at that. It's Neera Tanden. More importantly, does this mean everything with a Trump Autopen signature is void in this administration? And last, because there's a lot by Autopen in every administration. Well, what happened was on Thursday evening, GOP Senator Eric Schmitt demanded access to sealed Biden Autopen records after Neera Tanden admitted she controlled the Autopen for more than a year and a half. Neera Tanden, classic American. You got classic American Ketanji Brown Jackson, classic American Neera Tanden. Maybe I don't like what America's become today. Maybe I don't like this. Ex-Biden official Neera Tanden admitted under oath to the House Oversight Committee during a closed-door testimony on Tuesday that she controlled Joe Biden's Autopen. House Oversight Chairman James Comer recently identified 5 Biden aides who were involved in the cover-up of Joe Biden's mental decline and Autopen scandal. Director of Domestic Policy Counsel Neera Tanden was brought before the committee on Tuesday and admitted that she was authorized to use Joe Biden's Autopen between October 2021 and May of 2023. According to the Washington Examiner, Neera Tanden testified that she was also authorized to direct the Autopen. However, she denied manipulation or abuse. Additionally, she admitted that she would utilize the Autopen without actually verifying from Joe Biden himself that it was an authorized action. Earlier this year, the Oversight Project revealed 6 criminals were pardoned by Biden's Autopen on December 30th of 2022 while Joe Biden was vacationing. So it's kind of crazy, right? You have this Autopen scandal, this idea that laws, executive orders, these are EOs, executive action, were put into place because of some girl named Neera Tanden. Look, Joe Biden didn't even know where he was half the time, and you're telling me that he knew what people were signing into law? This is what we mean by the deep state. Neera Tanden is deep state. It's somebody who's not elected, who's appointed, who's making decisions for the people that we didn't ask to make decisions for us. This is why I believe that they one of the main reasons I think they did COVID and that they faked the election, got Biden in, is because there was a bunch of stuff they wanted to get done to wreak havoc in the country and undo what Trump was doing. And they couldn't have a president in power that actually was going to pay attention, right? Just like they needed a guy that could just, push around, and then they just auto-penned everything. It's actually really scary when you realize what's happened to our country. It's like actually kind of frightening. It's like we are on like a crash course. You go like, how do things happen? How do empires fall? Like, how does Rome fall? How does the USSR collapse? I can tell you, it just feels like we're nearing collapse. And that being said, if you like these stories and you want to hear more, make sure that you follow me on Locals at ElijahSchaffer.locals.com. It's the best place to get me on record. But I want to do this. Listen, this cover-up was insane. Before we end, I just want to watch this one clip here. Check this out.
People in Missouri have asked me, who is running the country? Who is actually in charge? Like, it's kind of an important thing in our constitutional republic, like who's making the decisions as president of the United States. Look at what happened in the last week in this country. You have to have a president like President Trump who's in full command of the office, makes clear decisions. That did not happen for almost probably the full 4 years of Joe Biden's reign, right? So who was? The truth is, you probably had a series of, women's study majors from Ivy League institutions who used to write white papers about open borders are now suddenly in charge of opening the border. So This is a bigger scandal than Watergate. We need to continue to drill down on it. We're going to be subpoenaing or getting documents from the archivist to see if there were actually authorizations for the Autopen. Has big consequences. I know James Comer's working hard.
Yeah, I mean, look, who was signing these documents? I'm sure we all should know. Anyway, I'm Elijah Schaffer. Have a great rest of the week. As always, and may God bless the United States of America. I'm signing out.